Hey, it's KimBK. Now that we've had time to settle after Season 6, it's time to reflect on the content that we got and see what kind of stuff we have leading into pre-Season 7 material. You guys had a lot of questions, so I'm going to answer them in this video right now. Now this first question comes from Tail Foundry. Tail Foundry has his own channel on YouTube, so if you want to check that out, look in the description below. He does some amazing videos on all types of different fictions. He's my favorite robot on YouTube at the moment. He asked, do you have any ideas why Season 6 felt so off in many places, particularly the dialogue and pacing? Personally, I believe that Game of Thrones was really running out of material as they headed into Season 6 and going on Season 7. With Winds of Winter constantly being delayed and George R. R. Martin only giving them some footnotes and things that will lead to the ending, they really had a lot of creative license to make this season amazing, and they really fell short on that. They made characters do things that were irrational for the information and the type of character they had, just to forward the story to where they wanted to put it. They didn't want to advance any stories too far into the endgame because they wanted Season 6 to end on the leveling right before that point. So all we have is these scenes that feel so weird to us that it brings us out of the universe and out of this whole zone we get into, and we start thinking, what the hell's going on here? We retract from the story, which is nothing that you want when you're watching an awesome program. Jursub1 asked, what will be the best fight/battle that may come up in your opinion? Now for Season 7, it looks like we're going to have a lot of different characters that we never really imagined interacting together, meeting up, fighting, having conflict, and that's going to be really interesting. I really want to see the parallels between Cersei and Dany if they ever do get to meet. I have a strange feeling that Cersei will burn down King's Landing in a rage, or at least the Red Keep, before Dany manages to invade and take it over or something like that. So I fear we won't get that conflict, but if we do, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Mike Hunt asked, do you see Dany taking the throne by the end of the season? If not, what position would Westeros be in politically? Now many people have different theories about who's going to take the Iron Throne at the end. Will it be Jon, Dany? How will the world look like when the series wraps up? Personally, I'm a strong believer in Tyrion's democracy. I believe that the character arc of Tyrion ends with him coming to the realization that democracy and the People's Republic is something that will rule properly in Westeros and the world, and is the most just way to make a fair and prosperous society. Now the end to characters like Daenerys and Jon are just as mysterious to me as a lot of you guys. I have my own theories and opinions, but they're not very strong and grounded in any evidence. But Tyrion has a lot of evidence pointing towards his democracy ruling and the changing of Westeros, so there is no Iron Throne, there is no monarchy, and moving into a more modern realm and finally getting out of this weird medieval dark ages that's been stuck in for like centuries. If you haven't heard about this theory at all, I'll be making a video on it pretty soon. I'll be going through a whole bunch of the evidence points and what I think about it, and then we'll go through as a theory as a whole and see how they'll implement it in the future seasons. Fig Latha 96 asked, did you enjoy Season 6, or are you mad how it's been altered and changed from the books? Now the idea of the show changing things from the book does not worry me at all. I enjoy seeing this alternate parallel universe from the one we got in the book, especially because half the time I wish things had changed from the show, like Robb not dying and stuff like that. But we do see that a lot of the changes they are making aren't working out well for them creatively at all. Look at Dawn, look at some of the stuff they did in Season 6 with Arya. It just seems like these terrible things, but we don't know what's happening in the later books in Winds of Winter, so maybe they are following it more closely. Personally, it's not the worry of them changing from the books. I feel like they're just giving up creatively on the show as a whole. They're not putting the 200% in that we got from like Season 4. The actors are performing well, but the stuff that they've been getting, the material that they have to use to perform, is really lacking. Much of that comes back to the reasons I answered in the very first question with Tail Foundry. Frank97 asked, do you think that King Jon will face the Lannisters and become the new king of Westeros before the Battle of the Dawn? And do you think that he will marry Daenerys or Sansa or either of them? First off, I really hope he doesn't marry Sansa. That would be really fucking weird, even for Game of Thrones, Cersei. But I do not think he will also marry Dany. Again, that comes back to Tyrion's democracy and a lot of the ways that the entire realm will end. I don't think that the realm will end in the similar way that the Robert's Rebellion ended. You know, it's not going to be just this huge waste of life and blood to put some new person the king in the same cycle to keep on going. Remember, we're going to break that wheel. Now, don't get me wrong, Jon's going to be an important character coming forward, like his lineage as a Targaryen and stuff will all be used, but I think it'll be used to push the messages that the show and George R. R. Martin have been filling their stuff with, about bloodlines and lineage and monarchy not being the right things to rule a place, and it'll really show the faults and flaws and how unimportant they are to the grand scheme of things, and that's not the way you should organize society. Or you never know, he could just become Azor Ahai and rule the entire realm, slay the White Walkers and fuck Dany. So Arthur Dane asked, do you ever think that they will go back even further and cover such things as the Age of Heroes or the Andal invasion? Now, I covered this briefly in my previous video about series and stuff, that they could possibly do a spin-off series about the really old history. They could combine it all together. They could do one of those kind of shows where it goes through like millennia or centuries with different characters that we pick up along the way, or it could just condense the storylines and the timelines down into like a roughly 20-year span to make it suit a more story format. But apart from that, the Andal invasion and the Age of Heroes have really served its purpose for what it's supposed to be as historical texts in the show. And finally, Joe said, do you think that we will see the White Walkers invasion next season, or do we have to wait until the last season? Now, if the White Walkers ever get into Westeros at any point, then the next season will be that point. They will definitely be in there, they're crossing. I don't think it'll be a full-on conflict. I don't think the whole season will be full of White Walkers across the wall and stuff like that. But it may end with the wall coming down, it may end with them passing through it, it may end with a revelation about them. Because so far, every piece of information we ever get of them just say that the current form of the White Walkers, the others, the person who's against us, is just pure evil and darkness and horror and just made as a weapon. But I want to know that they're properly using the other and us mentality and showing how that's not a good mentality to have, and how that the White Walkers are a lot more than we think they are. And that would be a really awesome message and twist to the entire show. Long story short, they don't have enough episodes not to bring them in that point. Thanks for watching, everyone. I loved all the awesome responses I got about the different spin-off series. There was so many cool ideas about the Doom of Valyria and so on. Everyone had some brilliant insights into that, so that was really fun to have. Also, your questions that I got, thank you for everyone who left those questions. If I missed yours, I'm sorry about that. Maybe I couldn't get to it, or you had very similar questions to someone else I've already done here. Also, remember to check out Tail Foundry's channel. He's got some awesome videos in there, super high quality. He deserves so many more subs. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys later.